Hello, everyone, and welcome to Matriarch Speaks. My name is Davina Arnus, and I am your host. I am honored to get to speak with so many incredible elders and receive wisdom from these times. I'm so proud to say that I'm Sukwatmik from the Sushrop Nation and part Honduran. I am joining you today from the traditional and unceded territories of the Katsi, Kwantlen, and Semiahmoo nations. A big thank you to everyone who is watching right now. I'd like you, the audience, to consider the traditional lands that you reside on and give thanks to Indigenous caretakers of those lands, past, present, and future. If you don't know the territory that you reside on, I invite you to take some time after the broadcast to find out whose land you are on and what the history of that place is. Let's take 10 seconds now to turn inward and acknowledge the land that each of us are on and the Indigenous people who have and still do live here. Thank you, everyone. I now want to turn it over to April Bennett for an opening prayer. April is the visionary of the Matriarch Speaks and an elder overseeing this project. April is Kwadacha and Dunza on her mother's side, and Cree, French, Scottish, Irish on her father's side. She is a bright light in the lives of many. After meeting one of the 13 Indigenous grandmothers a few years ago, April has been called to bring the voices of the matriarch to the world. She has a deep respect for the knowledge that they carry and know the importance of sharing it this time on Mother Earth. April.
Oh, thank you, Davina. I am so fortunate to reside on the Coquitlam and Mukate people's lands in Catesy. And it's beautiful here. And it was a place in Balcarra, I believe, where all the people joined from all around. So big gatherings would happen here. This was a beautiful, beautiful place. Um, I want to give thanks for our matriarch today and to all that have allowed this to happen. It's been a real gift for all of us to be able to share. Someday it'd be nice to be in the same room with everybody. Right now, I say a prayer just to ground ourselves. And so, Creator, thank you for this day. Thank you for all the things that came with it, all the joys. Sometimes it's sadness, sometimes it's teachings, sometimes it's always something to learn here on Mother Earth. Thank you for all the opportunities that are provided for us. Thank you, Creator, for all that comes this way. Thank you for Mother Earth, for she provides for everything that we need, all our air, our water, our food, our medicines, and shelter. Thank you, Mother Earth, for your big gifts. And Creator, please bless all the animals we share Mother Earth with, all the animals in flight, in the ground, in the seas, the four legged, all the ones, because Creator, we learn from each and every one of them. And Creator, thank you for Father Sky, for he provides all the changes we need to help us to be here with Mother Earth. And Creator, please bless this humble circle before you and all the people that it touches. May it be done so with love and kindness. All my relations. Thank
That was,
you.
thank you so much, April. It is my honor to introduce Emily Henry. Her traditional name is Kichi Tap Okop Eska Tai Awa Esqueo. Hopefully, I pronounced that correctly. Who we have a gift of hearing today. Emily Henry has worked for 25 years with the criminal justice system, where she developed numerous programs specifically designed to provide interventions with federally incarcerated Indigenous offenders. She has also developed numerous training manuals for staffs. Emily was recipient of numerous awards because of her work, including receiving the Distinguished Alumni Award from the University of Fraser Valley. Emily is certified as substance abuse and trauma counselor. She is Cree from Ochopawapse. Is that correct?
And
Um,
Hochapo.
in Saskatchewan. Emily follows the traditional ways from her ancestor and has lately been recognized in her and other communities as an elder. She is a pipe carrier, sun dancer, and was given the rights to pour sweat lodges. Emily sponges using her eagle fan from brushing runs healing circles and also facilitates healing and cultural awareness workshops. Thank you, Emily, for being here with us today. Um, what what does the role of an Indigenous matriarch mean to you, and how has that changed throughout time?
I think the role of the Indigenous matriarch is been with us since time immemorial. And what I mean by that is that we have always been strong and powerful in our own right as women. When you said my name, the last part of it means woman, and it's Esquale, and that's Cree. That in itself talks to us about how women have such a role in society as leaders. And prior to contact, that was that was not something abnormal. It was the way life was, that we were matriarchs. Um, many would uh, look at their lineage through their mother line. And so the clan systems were from the mothers. The the leadership was from the women. And so how has it changed? Well, colonization had an impact. And so it redefined in many ways how women were perceived in society. And
Mm-hmm.
so that was back. I'm from the treaty territory, for instance. In the treaty territory, women where the leaders are equal to. We didn't really
Yeah.
have gender, but if you wanted to say men and women, there was an equality there. And so when the signing of the treaties were came about, women would naturally show up. But there was a
Yeah.
culture clash. And what was happening was the fact that the Europeans at the time didn't understand at all women and their roles, because women were property, are considered property then. And that
Mm-hmm.
wasn't the same. So that culture immediately clashed. And our role was again redefined through residential school experiences.
Yeah.
Because when you're taught about what it means to be a girl, you're taught by strong women, but you remove the strong women and people that look like you, or people that sound like you or talk like you, then there's a confusion. And on top of that, if you're told your people are not worthy, women are less than, it redefines it. And so over time, there was a definition that evolved from that.
Mm-hmm.
That said, we are returning to, in huge ways, to our place in society. And the people that do that for us, sorry, the people that do that for us in such big ways are not just elders, but younger people like yourself. And
Mm-hmm.
what's happened is looking at you sitting on this side, you know, having lived much longer than you, and looking at you and thinking about what you do today, Davina, and
Mhm.
how you're helping to magnify our voices. That's huge. And so, as always, and always, our elders, our ancestors have said, it's the next generation. We have to bring it to the next generation. And this is in action right now between you and I. This conversation is
Mhm.
demonstrating how we've always did this traditionally. An
Yeah.
elder speaking to the youth and the youth teaching. And it's like it's a beautiful
It's a
circle.
cycle.
Yes,
Mhm.
yes, that's absolutely right.
And it's amazing to see all the beautiful and strong women that are coming all together too, right? Like the beautiful and strong wisdom matriarchs that we've had on the show so far. And you guys all have a different backstory, but you guys, when I see you, I see strength, I see power, I see wisdom, I see knowledge, I see that you guys have struggled and succeeded so much, but you pushed through all that pain and all that suffering to get to where you are. And you, as a matriarch, as an elder, that's how you guys are teaching us. And that's how I, hopefully in the future, I'm able to teach the younger generation as well, right? It's like you said, it's a beautiful cycle, and we all are going through something, but we have women like you to look up to. You have that strength there, you have that knowledge, and that knowledge is teaching us here today. And that's so powerful as well. So thank you for sharing that. But yeah, as a younger generations, what can the younger generation of youth do for themselves now, do you think, that can create more balance and harmony in their lives?
Oh, you know, I I love that saying that I've heard over and over again, creating space, leaning into um, that safe space, that welcoming space. And while in the days of my youth, those things weren't necessarily there. And
Yeah.
so in this in this time, I hear that a lot from young people, younger generations talking about how do we create a safe space?
Yeah.
What do we do? And it's almost looking back, and exactly what you said is what has happened since colonization, since residential school. What has occurred for my mom, my grandparents, my aunts, my you know older cousins, or whoever it is, the ones that are there, my mom's friends, or and how do I learn from that? And
Yeah.
without and I don't see this happening as saying you did so wrong. It's
Yeah.
more of an understanding. It's creating that understanding and understanding our history, but importantly understanding that our history is in more and more, it's bigger and bigger and bigger as you get to learn more. In the colonization history is that big, and it's so
Mm.
important to look at what was what was our people like prior to contact,
Yeah.
and how did we how did we occupy the land? Why is land stewardship so important to us? Why is it that we have such a desire to ensure that the land is safe, that we care for Mother Earth, that we care for one another? And I see
Yeah.
that. I've It's such a beautiful thing to look at this generation that's here and the one that's yet to come, and what's going on is they're looking back for the lessons, not for the blame. And
Ah,
that
yes.
is that's so huge because I believe we're very unique in that.
Mm-hmm.
Oftentimes we'll hear from others, perhaps other cultures, to say, well, you did it wrong. The war, the baby boomers, the whole thing. I don't often hear that from our youth. It's
No.
more it's more about there was substance affected people. You know, why is that? Why was there substances used, and what kind of pain were they masking? Those questions are so important because through that we learn, and
Mm-hmm.
and we heal, not only ourselves, but we bring healing to the next generation, and to the point where soon we won't need to have that same reason for, perhaps, there'll be other reasons. Life is life, but not the same reasons as our people have gone through
Yeah.
these horrendous experiences.
Yeah, because growing up for myself, I grew up in the foster care system, and I never understood growing up the pain and the suffering my biological mom was going through. And I always asked myself, why doesn't she care? Why doesn't she, all that, like a lot of negative thoughts of why. But there's more to it and then the whys. We don't talk about it. My mom didn't really tell me lots about what went on in her childhood. So once I grew up older, that's when I started to understand the whys. And I got to see my mom. But I saw my mom fighting those demons to be as strong and healthy as she possibly could. But the best thing I saw her doing was trying. And that's when I got older, I could fully understand that she is someone I look up to, and that strength of just trying, holding on to that hope, holding on to that strength. And that's what I admire too. We don't understand the story, well, especially when we're younger. But when we get to an age where we can start asking more questions and taking in that knowledge of the whys, then, like you said, we can really see the whole backstory, the whole thing. My grandpa's a survivor of residential school, and he still goes through some pains. It's going to be something to stick with him, right? But he tells us those stories, and he tells us the truth, and we are able to understand now the whys, the strength that they go through, right? The knowledge that they have now, right? But
Absolutely. And when you understand the intergenerational impacts, so in my language it would be grandpa mushroom. So mushroom or crumb, the grandmother has gone through residential school.
mhm.
In there was no teachings on parenting. And our people had so many teachings on traditional parenting. We call it
Mhm.
traditional, but it was just simply parenting, and how it is to nurture children, how it is to raise children. And when you don't have those role models, you don't know how to then pass that down to the next generation.
Yeah.
And what we see in our next generation is a generation where parenting was confusing. What does that mean when you don't know? Because your parents have no idea. They were raised in an institution,
Mhm.
the residential school,
Yeah.
or they went to day school. Or either one, it was so damaging and so hard on the spirit of our people. And
Mhm.
so it was intergenerational. And yes, the next generation has been impacted as well. And at some point, someone like yourself says, it stops here. Meaning, I am going to be the one that has, I'm going to pick up the torch, and I'm going to be the one that looks at it in a compassionate and gentle. and graceful way. I'm going to look back so that we can move forward.
Mhm.
And in my mind, it takes one person in a family to do that.
Yeah.
And it does, it could be so. I heard this story the other day, and it was just amazing to me. And it was a little girl, and she was walking with her auntie, and they were walking down the beach. And her auntie has taught this little girl about, grandfather's rocks and grandmother rocks, and talked about the ceremonies and such. And so they were walking along, and the little girl was skipping, and she said, "Oh, Auntie, look!" And she was pointing along the beach, and
Mhm.
and she said, look at all the grandfathers and grandmothers." And when we start to teach little girls, little children, that the land they're walking on is sacred and filled
Mhm.
with little grandmothers and grandfathers, what is happening to us is we're in that place of reclaiming and
Yeah.
understanding that we are in a sacred spot space wherever we are, right?
Mhm.
But so that's the next generation after you that's teaching now. It's like it is. It's a cycle that goes from
Round
back
and
and
round.
forth. Yes.
Yeah. Well, what do you think would be like a practical tool that you can offer, to anyone that can use in their daily lives to support them when they're going through something so difficult or that need that a little uplifting?
Well, what I like to do is, and it takes a bit of practice. But what I
Mhm.
like to do, there's a few things. One is when I'm feeling, I'm aware that I'm very full of stress.
Mhm.
I like to pay attention to my breath. And if I feel like myself, I just like think slow. I just say that word in my mind, slow. And so my breath becomes slower. The way I inhale and exhale becomes slower. I
Mhm.
feel myself relaxing my jaw. But I feel like this is the one of the more important part and aspects of this is, and this becomes part of my conscious thought, is soften your gaze.
Soften your gaze.
So when you do that and you start to soften your gaze, you start to soften the way you're looking outward, it really does internalize. But you're starting to see things in a more graceful manner, a more loving in a way, a loving manner, because you're not staring at something with your fists closed. You're going through that relaxing, and you're just softening your gaze. And
Yeah.
that's, I think, is such a beautiful, just a very mindful moment. I love when we can jump into that present moment and we can be fully there, and it just that, the next time, when even when you're in conversation and something is making you feel as if you would, whatever it is, flight, fight, whatever it is that's coming to mind. And if you say to yourself in a very conscious way, soften your gaze, you you shift. You just naturally shift, and you feel more present and more in tune with who you are intuitively and who you are naturally, and
Yeah.
being filled with grace. The
Yeah.
other thing that I think is so important, and I've practiced this, is working with water.
Water.
And what I mean by that is,
Mhm.
we all shower, we all bathe. And the next time, I invite you to do this, the next time you enter the shower or you enter the bathtub, if you say to yourself in your mind, or you can even say it out loud, but just thank you.
Yes.
And the water spirits will, it's like, I take showers. So for me, when I go into the shower, I say thank you. That's the very first thing I say. I enter the shower and the water starts to cleanse. It's like a smudge, but it's a
Mhm.
smudge using the water spirit. So it just fills you and it cleanses you, and it's like it's brushing down. But as you hold your hands out at the same time and your eyes are closed and you're really present in that moment, what happens when you say thank you, thank you, thank you? Gratitude fills you.
Yeah.
And the next thing you can say is, here you can think about someone you'd like to send a prayer to. In the shower, you can actually go to 4 directions and send a prayer out to the 4 directions, but pausing to say thank you in every direction. It's it's like 15 minutes of your day, 10 minutes of your day, and it's 10 minutes filled with gratitude.
Yeah.
And the stress just melts away. And you're just aware and you're present, and your breathing is impacted, and your whole way of being in 10 minutes. I would say one more thing. I'm going to say one more thing. I have a little bottle of
Mhm.
water. So I consciously, whenever I take a drink of water or tea, I'll say thank you before I take a drink.
Thank you.
And so that's what I mean working with the spirits of the water.
Yeah. Yeah, because I've been doing that. I've been trying to take, as I mentioned before, it was like I get so busy with held up in work, or I come home and I just don't I feel like I don't have that time. But yeah, lately just been in the shower. It's a cleanse. It's like you're having a cleanse in yourself, and you're getting rid of all that negative energy that our body absorbed throughout the day. And right after, even you're saying that one thank you, or thank you in a repetitive and repeating way, you just feel so different right after. And like you said, sometimes it just takes a minute, 10 minutes, 15 minutes of our day to say thank you to the little things. Thank you to the plants for providing us oxygen. Thank you, to the soil that provides the vitamin for our plants. Thank you, Father Sky, for giving us the weather that you're giving us today, and feeding our plants and nurturing them, right? It's just that little thank you can go a long way as well. You know, it's 1 minute, 1 minute, 60 seconds, 10 minutes, if you will. But sometimes that's just what someone needs. Sometimes is a thank you, a cleanse. Breathing I find is the very hardest for myself as well. Like when I go through my anxiety, I like you, I clench my jaw, I tighten my fists, and my heart just goes racing, and I start going panicking. But I feel like every episode that I've been doing, I've been learning one I guess practical tool that I can use, and breathing. I've noticed that's been a pattern, as being something that's being said. We all just need to learn to breathe. It's just sometimes takes a really uplifting moment from all of us. It's just something off our shoulders. Sometimes it just really grounds. I find it grounds me.
And it's very grounding. And sometimes when you're in a space where, everything feels dark, everything feels like it's so hard to see the light. And sometimes it's really hard to say thank you because you don't necessarily feel grateful.
Yeah.
And so it's that moment of softening your gaze. And um, and can you imagine if you're feeling that place where you're feeling so dark and so lost, and you decide I'm gonna soften my gaze, and you look in the mirror and you just allow that just for a second, and you give yourself that break to mindfully be present. Sometimes we feel like the emotions that we have are going to be forever. Um, I know that I've heard and I've thought this myself probably so long ago. If I ever start crying, I'll never stop.
Mhm.
So feeling those type of intense emotions was a fearful thing. And actually, our emotions are like a storm. They can get really intense and really just chaotic, but they do calm down.
Mhm.
And what we need to do is absolutely, Davina, is breathe. And eventually our emotions start to balance. But
Mhm.
they're gonna feel unbalanced. It's not a magic cure, it's not, but breathing and being there in a present moment allows you to have a break from all of that intense emotions. And then the next breath allows you to have a little longer break in the next
Yeah.
breath. As I said in the beginning, I practice this, meaning I have to remind myself I'm going into the shower, I'm going to say thank you. And it's a conscious thought. And same with the water. And same with my food.
Mhm.
If I'm feeling upset, I'm feeling my emotions are intense, and I'm going to have a bite to eat. I can eat that feeling if I'm not careful. So instead, when I'm going to take a bite, say of an apple, I can take, before I take the bite, I'd have consciously think to myself, thank you. And then you're eating gratitude rather than intense feelings such as rage or anger or whatever.
Yeah. Wow. Um, and what do you think is like a message what that you received from one of your elders that you feel impacted your life, like uplifted your life, that something that you used in your everyday?
Well, one of the things I received that was, I worked with elders, but when I received my name,
Mhm.
I it was so impactful in my life. It was the first time that I really felt it, almost like a puzzle, like putting this cap and turning it, and then it fits on there. It clicked. It clicked, and so I have my name, and I wondered, what does it mean? What does it mean to my life? And my
Mhm.
life then took on the purpose around my name. And it flowed together, and my life purpose became my name.
And how did you receive your name?
I received my name in the lodge.
Mhm.
My elder, so I had my uncle worked with the same elder, and he left the name with the elder to say, one day a woman will come to the lodge. You'll recognize her. I will be there, and I this name belongs to her. And so
Yeah.
when I came to the lodge, my uncle, um,
Mhm.
he had passed into the spirit world, and his spirit came into that lodge, and that's when the elder knew this name was for me.
And how do you correctly pronounce it? I feel I try to correctly pronounce it, but
You
I
did such a
mean,
great job. It's Kichi Tepaco Bescoteo Asqueo.
mhm, it's beautiful.
And thank you so much. And so my name, I don't often translate it, but I'm very happy to do so. It means seven sacred fires, woman.
Mhm.
And so the prophecy goes that the seven fires are lit, and uh, it's on us. It's our job to light those fires so the eighth fire can be lit, and that
Mhm.
eighth fire is to ensure our culture continues. So when I say my name became so important to me, I had it. I had received it before I started to write the programs for our people behind the walls, and it
Yeah.
clicked together because now I have um, written programs that reintroduce culture and also skills and interventions and such. But it was really so an important part of how it defined me and shaped me as a person,
Mm-hmm.
and and still does today. It's my life
Yeah.
purpose wrapped into my name, and it made such a big impact that I actually started to look at my English name differently.
Mm-hmm.
I
And
wasn't
why?
really happy about my English name until I got my true name, which is my
Yeah.
traditional name, and then I could look at my English name and go, wow, well, actually, my first name is from an aunt that
Mm-hmm.
passed away in June, and my middle name is from my aunt who passed, not my aunt, my mother's aunt who passed away in July, and I was born in August, so my name became Emily Jane. So my name is from two very powerful women, and I'm
Wow.
thinking, yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah. I love that. I feel like it just all ended up so naturally together, though. Mm-hmm.
So it is. It's important. I believe, it's a blessing when you receive your traditional name, and I believe that it's important to for those who feel like it's important that it's there. It's there for us, and
Yeah.
to understand that this is part of who we are, and it defines us in our future and our calling.
Mm-hmm. So, what do you think that younger generations can do for themselves right now in order to create balance and harmony in their lives? What do you think's a good tool for that?
Understanding that they come from very, very powerful people. That's first of all.
Mm-hmm.
Understanding that being comfortable in their own skin is so vital. Um,
Yeah.
I've met recently um, all types of youth who self-identify in unique ways, and I
Mm-hmm.
think to myself, "Wow, this is so beautiful because this is traditional." And I love that we're not needing to be stuck on a certain gender, or we don't need to, or we can be if we're very comfortable being she, or he, or they, or them. I love it. I absolutely love it. Keep doing that. Keep doing more of that. Keep finding ways to be comfortable in who you are and how you self identify. And the same with, I love how you introduced yourself, that I'm proud to be and I'm proud to this. And
Yeah.
so that's really important. And understand that if some of your ancestry is not indigenous, be proud of that.
Mm-hmm.
Or you're flowing into the way of the medicine wheel teachings in a way that we understand that there's four quadrants, there's four different
Yeah.
colors, and that blending together is so beautiful.
Yeah.
So I guess I'm again, be comfortable, find every way you can in any way you can to be comfortable in your skin. If
Yeah.
you want hair to be purple and you do it.
Be able
If
to
you
express yourself. Yeah.
express yourself and
Mm.
allow that happiness to flow and being comfortable in who you are, and understand that body size doesn't make you or define you. It's
No.
really it's really in your
No.
your what you think and how you act, and importantly in your heart and in your spirit. That really defines you. And that's
Yeah.
when you say, I'm comfortable.
Yeah, because for the longest time growing up, I've experienced the stereotypes, and, I've been told, you know, that I was told one time by one of my teachers, and I was only young. I was very young at the time, because I was First Nations, that, I won't succeed because
Mm,
of the stereotypes that, of the Indigenous people, that I'm
mm,
not smart enough. And so I did my very best growing up, and I try to prove that person wrong. I graduated high school. I'm studying to be a child and youth care counselor. I want to go for my master's and my PhD, and I want to teach, and be a counselor for Indigenous youth in corrections, or Indigenous youth in foster care. But I use those words, and I was ashamed for a long time, and it's hard to admit it was a shame for a long time being Indigenous because of the stereotypes that I've went through growing up, and also being a youth in the foster care system too. You feel alone, and you feel like no one really loved and really cared for you, right? But I am so blessed and so happy for the family I was able to grow up in. I showed me so much love, but it took me a long time, till I think I was about the age of 14. But I wasn't until I joined the CREW program, the Culturally Relevant Urban Wellness program, that's a part of VACFAS, that I was able to learn from the elders within the program of the the residential schools, and the land that we are working on, and it just made me feel so proud in that moment that I am who I am. I will always have Indigenous blood going through my skin and through my body, but I am proud. And I get goosebumps saying it because it's true. I am proud for all our people of what we went through, but how powerful and strong we are today. We all have our journey that we've been through. I have my journey I've been through, and I'm always just proud to say that I'm here. I love my body. I love the body I'm in, but I also love who I am. I love our ancestors, their teachings, their knowledge, but it took me a long time. It didn't just happen overnight. It took me a long time. I'm 25 now, so it took me a while to be able to stand my ground and be a voice, and say I'm proud. So that's why I always, when I do interviews or I go to conferences, I say I'm proud to be. I'm proud to be Sixwamic. I'm proud to be Honduran. I'm proud to be a mix, because we have so much history and we have so much knowledge, and it's people need to know.
that's right. That's absolutely right. And I also love how we do look back, but every time that we get together, we talk about the future generations.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how many other people do that. That when leaderships are talking about it, when you know, or else someone's going to bring it up and remind us, don't forget the next generation. In some way, shape, or form, no matter what we're doing, we're looking forward. And I think when you were talking about, being in care and being not sure or being confused or being ashamed, all of those things that we've gone through as Indigenous people,
Mm-hmm.
sometimes I feel like our spirit was resting in a way until we went into that space where we felt we were ready to embrace it. And you're coming back to what you were saying about what's the message is awaken that warrior.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, and it becomes by being comfortable in that in the skin. And it's not just the color. I'm talking about who you are uniquely, and
Mm-hmm.
so important. And those warrior voices become alive and become strong. And and I'm not just talking about people who carry signs, but those who carry, I don't know, policies, our laws, our work with children, and it's there's so many warriors
Hmm.
everywhere, and it's so beautiful.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. I'm looking at one right now. um, so my last question I would like to ask you, because we're coming up towards the end of our interview, but for anyone who's going through a hard time right now or is struggling in some way, what do you want them to know?
Well, I would like them to know that, you know, if if they could be gentle,
Hmm.
be compassionate. I think those who feel deeply have that within them always. What everyone I've met that have ever felt that have gone through a really hard time, they're such caring people.
Yeah.
And when you sit with them and you talk about their feelings, so often we go into another space where they talk about who they care about and what they hope would happen.
Yeah.
And so what I what I hope and pray for is that that gentleness that you feel, the caring, the compassion is inward as well. Take some of that medicine for yourself.
Yeah.
That's what I say. That medicine of those thoughts, those feelings, those words that you're putting out there, that love, that compassion, turn it
Hmm.
inward, and it's like that medicine. Let it grow within you too, because we
Hmm.
need you. We need more warriors out there. And as I said earlier, know this is temporary. Sometimes sometimes our pain feels as though it's the only thing that we can see. It's almost like the blinders. You know those horse that you see in Victoria where they have the blinders on? That's so
Yeah.
they can't see. They can't see and are distracted. And that's how we feel when we're feeling really intense emotions. And it's
Yeah.
okay to give yourself let yourself let go of those blinders. Look
Hmm.
in the mirror, soften your gaze, soften your gaze, and be compassionate to you as well.
Wow. It really, really did touch. That really hit me right there. It was very beautiful and well said. Thank you. And thank you so much. What an incredible conversation that's been with so much wisdom. I'm very grateful for the teachings that you've taught me today. I'm going to hand it over to Miss April. Um,
Ina.
so hope to hand it over to you to close our time together.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. I'm always so honored, honored, and it makes me see um, a place that we all are part of. You know, we
Yeah.
all are one. Everybody, people we don't see, people coming, people leaving. We're all one, and that. And I'm just delighted. And we need all those people. We need each other, because we are all one on that. And we all, I love to hear it all the time. We care for each other and we care for the land. I hear it over and over again. Mother Earth, you know, how we've been with her. And that, and seeing spirit. Where is spirit? Well, it's all over. It's in our breath. Every deep breath we take, it goes in and it comes back out again, right? Spirit
Yeah.
in our water, in our air, in the trees around us, in the oceans. Everything is spirit and alive. And we are too. We belong in that. Always have, right? I'm so excited to see that and always talking. and sharing like we are with our Davina tonight, warrior. And that I love warriors. I love warriors because we're here in this day and age as
Mm-hmm.
warriors. Okay? We have a past, we have new beginnings. Our past, here, and new beginnings, always. And we take all because Creator knows all, you know, and that's not what He's concentrating on. He's concentrating on the beauty of ourselves as
Mm,
Mm-hmm.
a people, as a part of this land and all. So be thankful. I hear that. And it's something that's so beautiful to do, to be thankful for where you are at this very moment. Be thankful for, because it's our ancestors. And that we're providing that beating heart and that hope and wish for
Yeah.
a good world
mm,
and to be happy upon ourselves. You know,
Mm-hmm.
I'm so, so happy to hear these wonderful things. And I need probably very soon a nice spirit bath. I
Mm.
had to find
Yes.
somebody to go with. And that I've only had two, I think. And my name, it's so like you. I'm so proud of it. Oh, Jacques Musqua. And that spirit bear. And it's true, like you're saying, it's like these were like this and they came together like this. You
Yeah.
know, we joined together. And that's how I was providing providing for that name that was
Mm-hmm.
coming. That elder that gave me that name said, I don't know why, but I have this vision. He said, I don't know
Mm-hmm.
why. I just come out here. I don't know why I have that. And, and then he gave me that name. And
Mm-hmm.
I was like, oh, and I really love it. And I really love all of me. No matter what I've walked through, no matter what I've done, no matter where I am,
mm,
I just love me all
mm,
inside here. There's used to be gaps in there, you know. There's not anymore. Okay? There's not.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm here. And I'm so pleased to be with the two of you. Thank you so much. Thank you so
Thank
much,
you.
both of you. And Emily, just say a little prayer for us, okay? And
Okay.
thank you, Creator, for all that has come here tonight, for all of our ancestors that are here in viewing this. Thank you so much for allowing this moment to be precious between all of us here. And Creator, please bless our mother, our Mother Earth, for she provides for our every need. She doesn't complain, she gives.
Mm-hmm.
Creator, thank you for the Father Sky who gives us many, many changes that we need. And Creator, thank you for each and beautiful day that we be here on Mother Earth.
mm.
All my relations.
Oh, my
Thank
Thank you.
relation.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much, April, and thank you to Emily, and thank you to everyone watching. And thanks for being a
Yeah,
part of Matriarch Speaks and following the call to listen to the voices of the elders. Remember to
yeah,
join us on our last broadcast next Monday at 7:30. Next
yeah.
week we'll be joined by Cheryl Gabriel, so be sure to tune in for that. And also, we would like to give a big thank you to Rotary for their ongoing support in developing this program, and a special thanks to our program coordinator, Jessica Hill, and our tech support, Jane Wilson. Until next time, guys, thank you so much. Thank you for your support. Remember, you're not alone. You got
Mhm.
there's a warrior inside of you. There's a warrior
Mm,
inside.
mm.
Just need to find. Thank
Ah,
you. Until
thank you.
next week. Bye.